Durag Diaries. Donna Cullen has been sacked from her post as Levy's right-hand woman. Ange could be on his way out, with Thomas Frank rumoured from multiple sources to be the next manager to take over. There's a lot going on in the Spurs boardroom right now. Vinay has entered with his first day in his job, and there's been a shake. He's shaking the room. Shout out to Pop Smoke and Quavo, you know, big tune. But instantly, Donna's walked out on the club. She stepped down. She's no longer going to be working with Tottenham after, I think it's been a few decades that she's been a part of our club. As to her role, she was more involved in the commercials dealing side of things, bringing in the commercial deals supposed to help the club generate more money and more revenue outside of the football side of things. And clearly, she's done a decent job throughout the years that she's been at Tottenham. Spurs have commercially grown it's more than double, triple fold, like tenfold over in the last 20 years. Doubling and tripling the size of our club totally. So you got to give her some credit on that side of things. But there's always been a problem at Spurs, which has been the focus is not on the football side of things. So we have got someone else to bring in, and that has been Vinay Venkatesam. Don't get on to me in the comments if I've butchered the name in it, but I tried. Who's come over from Arsenal, the former CEO of Arsenal, for quite a sustained period of time when they wasn't that good as a club. Now, I personally don't know enough about him to give you guys a breakdown on how good or how much of his impact is going to impact Tottenham in the team, or how much of an impact he's going to have on our actual playing style and, or, you know, the football side of things. But I do know that he has come in and there has been a knock-on effect already. And prior to the news about Donna Cullen, people would have been seeing reports all over the gaff on Sunday and Monday saying that man like Ange Postecoglou has been sacked. Now, that hasn't been confirmed as of yet. As I'm recording this video, it's not been confirmed. So if I've released a video or you're watching it and he's been sacked, then you're watching this after he has been sacked. But right now, it's not been confirmed that he has been sacked. But a lot of rumors coming out to say that he's been sacked. People on Ange's side saying that he's confident of him staying, but he could be next. He definitely could be next. There's everyone knows that the fact that Spurs have lost 22 games, you can't ignore it. You can't ignore that. We've lost 22 games in the Premier League this season, won 11. So we lost double the amount of games we've won. So the performance just hasn't been there. Yes, he won the Europa League and he lifted Spurs a trophy for the first time in 17 years. But that doesn't take away from the fact that he hasn't been good enough across the Premier League season. We can't deny that. And we can't ignore that. I know there's a lot of Spurs fans saying, look, just give him a chance. But we can't. I'm sorry. We got to give it. You got to take it for what it is. He's not good enough. He wasn't good enough in the Premier League. And managers that we are interested in, I can't even lie, they're not good enough too. So there's a problem, Spurs. We've got a problem. Because I don't think Thomas Frank is good enough. He's been the manager that's been heavily linked throughout the last couple months. I did make a video on it, and I'll, tap up somewhere over here, wherever it's going to be. I did make a video on it. Keep a lookout for that. Thomas Frank to Spurs. But I'm not a big fan of his. I'm definitely not a big fan of his. I think he's had a decent time in the Premier League. He's done a good job at Brentford, to get them promoted and steady them in the Premier League. But they haven't been pulling up any trees. It's not like he's been overachieving and exceeding high with this team. They've finished 16th. They've finished 10th, they've finished 9th, and they've finished 13th. That's decent for the club size of Brentford. And they are probably floating in a level that you expect them to. But he's not got European football with them, so he's not done anything amazing. When we got Pochettino after a Southampton spell, he'd have got the team into Europe. He'd done something that Southampton could never even think of even achieving in their whole lifetime. But he got them into Europe. Just like when the Zerbi got Brighton into Europe with De Zerbi got Brighton into Europe, and Spurs are in talks with him to see if we wanted to bring him in. And there has been talks with him since he's obviously had the move at Marseille, but he's comfy over there, so that doesn't look like it's going to happen. Thomas Frank hasn't pulled up any trees here. So if you're not getting Europe for a mid-table team, I don't necessarily want you. And that goes the same for Fulham, Marco Silva. I was interested in him early on in the season, but after watching Fulham a bit longer and seeing that their performance is just leveled out, he was not that good. Don't want Marco Silva. He's not good enough for me. Andoni Iraola, again, I get the metric that they're going for someone who's Prem proven, but I don't think that this works. I don't think Iraola works at a top club. You saw how many injuries he had last season playing no European football. How many do you think he's going to have playing 4 games a week at the top level, having to rotate? You can't rotate your side in the Champions League, you know. You got to play the same team twice a week, maybe rotate 3 or 4 players. You got to have a certain level of squad that I think Areola is a better coach than Ange. So is Frank and probably Marco Silva. But I don't think necessarily these managers are going to take us to another level compared to Ange. So if you're saying sack Ange and bring these managers in, I'm not going to be over the moon about it. I'm not. I'm on the side of we should still sack Ange, but I want to sack him and make sure we bring in a manager at the top creme de la creme level. But we're going to have to see how that does play out. In regards to Thomas Frank, let's just stick on the topic of him because, again, he's rumored to be the #1 option for us right now. Tactically, very good manager. He can play with a 3-4-3. He can go with a 4-3-3. He's adaptable. We've seen him do that similar to Eddie Howe in games, make those changes, but also just throughout his time at Brentford. He's also a good coach. He's managed to get the best out of those players and always make a few players look like superstars. Years and years ago, he had Benrahma, then he had Ollie Watkins, then he had Ivan Toney, and now he's got Wissa and Mbeumo who are doing crazy things. And as now you can see everyone's interested in Mbeumo. Now, if Frank does come in, maybe it could mean that he brings Mbeumo with him, or maybe even Wissa, one of them. I can't even lie. I'll take either or. Mbeumo definitely the favorite option, but Vissa's still a goal scorer. But one of the other things that he has been rumored to be very heavily linked is because he's worked with Brentford and their data-led model of transfers and scouting and so on. So he's used to working under that regime. I think that Spurs want someone who's going to be comfortable with our transfer policies. And I think he's not going to push up too much of a fuss when we're going to sign young players who fit the data model and so on, like we did with Odebert last season. Also, some people may not remember, but Tottenham was the team, or Brentford was the team that Tottenham had to compete with to get Brennan Johnson and Archie Gray. So these are 2 young players that are going to, Spurs are necessarily building around at this moment in time that he's going to want to work with. So I think there's a few factors that I think is good about him, but also I don't think he is good enough. Now, how Daniel Levy plays into all of this is where there's going to be the biggest impact, because rumors have said that Daniel Levy has made his mind up. His mind is apparently made up about what he wants to do, but they haven't communicated the decision as of yet. But now this is a big but. I think Daniel Levy may have disagreed with someone, and that's why someone's been fired. So that's why we've seen some movement, and Ange might stay. And if Ange does stay, I think it's going to be on the basis that he's going to get 6 months. If there's not a turnaround or upturn in the league form, they're going to get him sacked, because you get Champions League. The 8 games go up until the end of January. Spurs are going to want to stay at least competitive until then, to then push on into that other phase, because we know Daniel Levy, like Jose said, he was cheeky with it, but he was right. He wants the money. The Champions League money. That's what he cared about, winning the Europa League. So we have to have it right here. Daniel Levy is going to do what's in the club's best interest to keep us progressing and maintaining in the Europa League. And whether that best interest is going to be Ange or it's going to be bringing in another manager, Thomas Frank, definitely not our club's best interest. It's Inzaghi, Xavi. Now we're talking. But we're going to have to wait and see. We're definitely going to have to wait and see. Big up to everyone for supporting. Make sure you're smashing a like on this video. And if you haven't already, tap the subscribe button. That should have been done time ago. You're already delaying. Tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell his mom, tell your cousin. Subscribe to your boy Durag Diaries. Road to 5K has now commenced. Up here. I went that way. It was really up here. Road to 5K has now commenced. So yeah, man. Let's get there. Make sure you're sharing it with your peoples. And big up, man. Big up. There's too much stuff going on right now. So you're gonna see plenty of content. So as I said before, make sure you tap that post notification bell. And until next time, it's been Durag Diaries. Your boy is out.